coders of Reddit. How do you politely refuse your friend's $1 million app idea? I never want to discourage genuine enthusiasm for an idea, so instead of saying too hard, too expensive, already been done, etc., I treat this as an opportunity to teach my friend, co-worker, board member or relative, all true examples, to take a stack of index cards and draw a picture of the app starting with the opening square, then use a red pen to draw the UI action that would lead to the next index card. Where they draw that square, I tell them to draw as many screens as needed to illustrate how it works. If they can get past this step, they have a much better idea of the flow and complexity of the app from the viewpoint of the user. This process teaches them an enormous amount about software dev. I tell them that they would have to have this card design rock solid before talking to an app dev, and if they did it and brought it to a developer, the developer would cry at having such an organized client. Usually by going to the app store and finding 10 versions of their app idea that already exist. Ask for a salary saying that you are not prepared to be their co-seer. They will back off instantly. This is exactly what I do with strangers. I don't work for glory or for a maybe future income. I have to try to do the same with friends and family. Once a guy gave me his brilliant idea for boat sharing, like Zipcar but for boats. All I said was, you can already rent a boat, right? Anyway, that was back around 2012 and now apparently there are boat sharing apps, so I guess I missed the boat on that opportunity. Being right at the wrong time is the same as being wrong. If you tried to build a boat sharing app 8 years ago, people would have laughed you out of their office. You wouldn't have kept the company afloat for 6 years until that idea didn't sound insane. Dude, that sounds insane. I'm slammed with work right now, but when I get a chance you can show me what you have worked on. Spoilers, they haven't worked on it, you will never be free, and the app will never get made. I refuse to work with friends and family, so I just tell them that I do not want to transform the relationship into a professional one. $1 million app ideas generally fall in one of 4 categories. 1. It already exists. 2. It will require insane server power and the money to pay for it. 3. It's illegal, for computers don't work that way. For option 1, I show them the 12 apps that are better than their idea. For point 2 and 4, I get technical and start throwing costs around until they change subject. For option 3, I say it's illegal. That sounds like a great idea. Here are some resources online where you can learn everything you need to make it happen. Ask for a wage per hour of coding time. If they are willing to make the investment, then maybe they actually have $1 million app idea, and if they don't, you still get paid. I've worked with a few clients who think they have the next big idea, and they've somehow got the funds together to pay me. The whole time I do the work, I won't feel good about it, but I have to make a living. I'll actively try to inject ideas that might make it a success, but usually those clients can't see beyond their vision. However, I won't accept the work if they want to pay via credit card. I tell them that I know consultants that are available and will help build it, but it will take money. Barring that, I explain that ideas are a dime a dozen. It's execution that matters, and as the one doing the executing, a 51% stake in the company will be required. This gets them off my back every time. Ask them to draw their idea in the form of an app on paper, screen by screen, as to what they actually want to see in their app. If they actually are dedicated to the idea, they'll do it, but most people won't. So you ask if they did do it? Hadn't happened yet. It's that effective. This is a really good approach. I've had business users at work approach me with an idea for a report or dashboard. How I loathe that word. They would like to see, but can't articulate exactly how it should work. They just say make it look like this, and send a screenshot of another app or a URL to a page. It's hard to move forward with requirements like that, because you risk spending days on features they didn't actually want, but were in your reference material. The ones whose projects succeed are the ones who build their own model report in Excel first, or are able to draw diagrams for me with notes on data sources and constraints. Build the prototype model first is a good approach, because it's hard for most people to write requirements like a business analyst, but it's easier for them to make it look right in a model, and I can tease requirements out of that. Try and talk about technical details with them. 99. 99% of the time their eyes will gloss over, and they won't bring it up again. So let me get this straight. Yeah, I've got a wily coyote idea and you want me to engineer it, while you sit home and drink, and then take at least 50% of any profit. Got the t-shirt. Yeah, I was working on a simple physics-based game project for some friends once, and it was chugging along well until I got stuck on how the physics should work for one of the game mechanics, and when I asked them for help, I got complete silence. Interesting, that. Thank you for all the answers. I will politely give them a quote for my service before starting to work. In this way I either get paid or I don't do the work. With this method I can save the friendship, and if they argue they're the assholes who want to make me work for free. Honestly, the best answer I've seen is to have them draw up each screen, how the user interacts with it, and how they move between screens. If the person actually does this, they may have a real idea. If they can't/don't do this, they haven't thought about it enough, or are too lazy to actually put work in and just spitball in. I just start poking holes in it. Not in a negative way, but just by asking questions. That's one of your superpowers as a developer, to be able to think through edge cases that suddenly start showing how an idea or approach is not viable. You can do this by just asking your friend questions about those edge cases, and most oftentimes the viability or non-viability reveals itself. If there are some details that your friend hasn't thought through, which there always are, then you just ask them to figure out what those details should look like, since they're needed, before you can help. 99% of the time, they abandon the idea, because after thinking about it more, they realize it's not going to work, or that it requires far more effort than they're willing to put in. I ask them if they'd like a quote and it usually stops there. If they actually get to the point of scoping something basic, the quote scares them away. I have $1 million app idea at least once a day. But what I don't have is the capital to build it while I quit my job, or to pay for the advertising, to make people to know it exists, or to pay for the brilliant salesman who will convince investors to give me Series A money to assemble a team, or the spare time to even assemble all of these things. $1 million apps don't come from programmers, they come from people who are capable of raising money and convincing others to work insane hours for little or no money. $1 million apps don't come from programmers, they come from people who are capable of raising money and convincing others to work insane hours for little or no money. This is the point everybody should understand. Honestly, I'm not even polite about it. It'll be as firm and fantasy smashing as I'm at work when it comes to real implementations of things. If they're still trapped in La La Land, I bid them good luck. I got hooked up with a guy to meet about his killer idea. I told the person that made the intro, okay, but if it's a coupon site I don't want to even have a coffee with the dude. No, it's not a coupon site. It's a marketing app, so meet with this guy and see how it goes. So I meet with the guy, I introduce myself and say right off, if you're building a coupon site, I'm out. He says, no, it's not a coupon site. It's a marketing app where you sign up and we email you discount codes for local restaurants, and the deal was, I build it, they sell it, we split the profits. I literally said, goddammit, I said I'm not interested in coupon sites. Good luck going bankrupt trying to break into that market.
N.
99,999,999% of the time their idea has already been done anyways. Showing them this is usually enough. I remember years ago when a couple friends and I were coming up with app ideas and started spitballing the dumbest stuff like bank teller simulator, and even that had already been done. Eventually the four of us found a great idea that hadn't been done and spent about a year on it. We never finished it simply because our day jobs were too busy. Mind you that at that point I had already worked professionally post university for 10 years, some of that time specifically on Android apps. The other guys were newer, but all of us had been working for at least 5 years post university at that time, and we were seasoned and knew what we were doing. Point being, it takes a lot to develop an app when you already have a day job. Even if you have the skills and experience, the time is what will kick your ass. I bring up this anecdote as well when approached by people with their own ideas, as many times they just don't know how involved it is. I always go through the app with them, and usually by the end they realize it's not $1 million idea. And if it still is, and I agree, I help them. That's how my current business started. My dad had an idea and we decided to go for it. Now we've been going for over a year and my mom is involved, so we got a little family business. I had $1 million app idea when we brainstormed app ideas at my old job. Basically it was an app with a simple map where you could see where all the other users of the app were located at this moment. It came in 2 versions, one aimed to people afraid to get raped and the other version aimed at rapists looking for victims. The users could see all the users from the other versions, i.e. a rapist can see where all the rape scared people are and run towards them, and the rape scared people can see where all the rapists are and try to avoid them. My employer went with a puzzle game with a jumping bunny instead that never got released. Ask what is their idea. If there is an app already like that, say there is already an app like that, and it will be extremely difficult for your idea to succeed as there is already a successful app. Try to invent something, not copy someone else's idea. Tell them that you only work on 100% royalty. Take them seriously. The third time a specific friend started blabbering about an amazing idea I should help him with, I decided to set him on the right track. I told him to storyboard his idea, get some specifics down on paper, start drafting a pitch, use some game maker program to quickly demo some of the features he was envisioning with no programming knowledge required. I even sent him easy beginner tutorials for all of these things. He dropped the whole thing when it was suddenly him who had to contribute with some actual work, and he hasn't come to be with any more amazing ideas since. Maybe he realized that making an app isn't that easy. Maybe he finally understood that programmer doesn't mean developer plus SALES department plus QA tester plus PR department plus EVERYTHINGLs. Maybe he realized that just having an idea in your head is not the same as actually having an idea anyone can work with. I hoped he realized all of these things, but the only thing I can know for sure that he realized is that if he was going to work with me then he would have to work too by asking where the app's data comes from. So many people seem to think that just by building an app, it magically knows things like every local auto repair shop's price for each service, or which stores have which items in stock. Yes, I can build an app that displays this data to a user, but where does the data come from? Usually shuts them up. Add-on ideas that make no sense and seem really firm and excited about them. Friend, I have an app idea I want you to work with me on. It's Just Eat, but for pet food. Me. Fantastic, we can add a awesome locator to find your nearest Lodor by volume. People will definitely need that. Do you know how much that stuff sells for? And it's all profit. I have a few talents that I keep secret for reasons like this. Nobody knows I can code, shoot video/photography, or that I run social media marketing for some people in town. These are all things I love doing, but the second somebody finds out they FB message you needing help with a project. I had one guy in the business community find out recently about social media marketing, and I straight up told him, if you tell anyone I'll tell them you're lying.